What if I told you the real reason you have chronic illness isn't because of what the doctor told you, but it's the result of brainwashing? I'm sure you've been told that your illness stems from the typical risk factors for most modern day illnesses like lifestyle, stress, genetics, or perhaps it's even from misfortunes like accident or injury or an acute illness, or maybe even a rough recovery from surgery. Or maybe it's even just the luck of the draw and your doctors told you that this is an idiopathic illness, which is doctor speak for, we don't actually know. Now, I'm not saying none of these are true. What I am saying is that these aren't the causes of your chronic health condition. They're just symptoms of the real cause of your illness. Hi, I'm Linda Emsley, and I've been helping other women since 2011 who, like me, live with chronic pain and illness. And I've been helping them to switch on their innate healing power so they can start living life on their own terms again. In this video, I'm sharing the very foundational secret to thriving with chronic illness, and that is to understand the deep truth of your condition. In fact, I want to share some hidden truths with you that will completely change what you thought you knew about your condition. There are 3 secret risk factors for chronic illness. You've been brainwashed, and I'll tell you how and why. And I'll also share with you the real reason for chronic illness. By the end of this video, you'll understand exactly how you've been brainwashed. And I'll also share with you the very first step that you can take towards profound, sustained inner healing. So be sure to stick with me to the end for that life changer. Now, before I reveal the deep truth of chronic illness, though, let's get some perspective. The leading cause of death in Australia is chronic illness. Wait, what? More than half the population lives with chronic illness. There are more women than men affected. And when it comes to autoimmune disease, 3 out of 4 people affected are women. And women are more likely than men to develop things like fibromyalgia, chronic fatigue syndrome, myalgic encephalitis, irritable bowel syndrome, and so on. If you're getting value from this video, I'd love a thumbs up. It helps me more than you know. So how come it's the women who are being decimated? It's because we've been brainwashed. All of us, not just the women. So if we've been brainwashed and the typical risk factors aren't the typical, let's explore what the lesser known but more powerful risk factors actually are. I've identified 3 key qualities that many women possess which may predispose them to chronic illness. Being a high achiever, being highly intuitive, and also being highly sensitive. The high achiever is always pushing to do better, often at the expense of her own well-being. She might ignore the urgent signals her body sends her, leading to high stress, adrenal fatigue, and reproductive issues. A highly intuitive woman with her keen sense of empathy can become overwhelmed by taking on others' burdens. This often manifests as fatigue, mood swings, and a constant state of anxiety, potentially leading to depression and headaches. Finally, the highly sensitive woman processes vast amounts of sensory information and energetic information, making her prone to hypervigilance, anxiety, and chronic pain. Now, taken on their own, these qualities wouldn't necessarily be risk factors for chronic illness. It's when these qualities intersect with the framework of modern society and the unconscious programming that we must engage in the competitive, materialist consumer landscape as the only possible reality that they become acute risk factors. It's a shame, really, because in a world more focused on cooperation and community, these risk factors transform into potent gifts. They've only become risk factors because we've forgotten how to harness their power properly. If you'd like to reclaim the power of these gifts and deal with the real reason for your chronic illness, I've got a free download for you to help you out. I'll leave a link in the description below. As I said at the start, we've all been brainwashed, or programmed if you prefer, into believing that the socio-economic framework we've created is the only way to live, and that within this particular framework, we've lost sight of who we are, our full potential, and our true place in the grand scheme of things. We've placed ourselves separate to and above nature and mindlessly follow the imperative to succeed, whatever that means. Every day we choose to live with pollution and climate change, economic pressures and global crises, war, famine, and social inequality. It's the perfect breeding ground for ill health. And at the level of the collective unconscious, we've all agreed that this is the only way to live. Is this truly what our life purpose is? Probably not. This brings me to the real reason for chronic illness. Before we get to the big reveal, can I ask a favour? Can you click the like button and subscribe to my channel to help me get this information out to more people who need it? You'll also be kept up to date with more content about how to thrive with chronic illness. Thank you. The real reason for chronic illness is disconnection. In fact, disconnection is the cause of all dysfunction in the world today. We are disconnected from the divine, and for women in particular, it's disconnection from the sacred feminine that's driving the increasing numbers of long-term ill health. Reconnecting with this energy is crucial for restoring balance and well-being in your own body, which in turn will start a change in the energy balance of the world itself. The very first step towards improving your health is to acknowledge your true nature. You do this by embracing your natural rhythms and aligning your activities with the cycles of nature. What this means is reassessing your priorities, meeting the challenge of overturning artificial timelines, and being guided by what your body needs instead of by obligations to others, the expectations of the external world, and your own inner expectation of what you should be doing. Embrace your unique traits and seek environments that support and nurture them. By understanding and reclaiming these aspects of yourself, you start to heal the primary cause of your chronic illness. Now that you know the deep truth about chronic illness, you might be wondering, how do I turn that knowledge into power? This video will get you started. Many blessings.